and I trained with this dude named Jerry. But it's just really like, if I wanted to get it myself, I just go to this like little park across my street and just like set up these cones. But I lost my cones, so I just really.
Which part of the city you live in? Which part of the city you live in?
I live like in Wilson, Wilson Page.
Okay. All right. Well.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Committed. Today, we are bringing you one of the top-ranked receivers out of the state of Missouri and greater St. Louis area. I'm your host, Kirk Bradley.
I'm Jamel Smith.
And we are sitting with...
Fredrick Moore from Corner.
Nice to meet you, Fred. Nice to meet you, Fred. So just to clear the air, get things started, when you hear the word committed and being one of the best athletes in the country, what does that mean to you?
I feel as though committed can root to a lot of words like loyalty or dependability. Because I feel as though if you commit somewhere, they're going to depend on you to stay committed, and your loyalty, that's where loyalty come in. So you can stay tied in with the program.
Got you there. So I know that you said loyalty is a huge thing for you. In terms of your early career, how were you loyal to football? What started you? What created that loyalty for you to the sport?
Loyalty, well, I think the loyalty started with me was that first ever hit I got when I was in Little League. I started off like when I was in first grade, and I was playing up with the big kids, and I didn't know no better, so I just went in head first, and that one big dude, I think it was Chris Brooks, he actually going to Wisconsin now. He hit me so hard, and I got mad, and they was like, don't cry, but I never liked the easy, so I liked the competition, so I got back up and just hit him right back. So that just started my love and my competitiveness as a player.
So where you play in JFL?
I played for Matthew Dickey, and then I played for the Stars and Jennings.
Okay, so a lot of diversity there. That's great that you say that, especially with us all knowing all of those JFL teams. One thing that stood out to me that you just mentioned was that you played up. Being so athletic and you being a top tier athlete, what are the benefits that came with playing up? Do you think that helped you?
I feel as though it made me adjust to the tempo of the game more as I gradually came into high school. Like, I feel as though playing up made me think faster or make me think before the play. Like, I had to think, if I do this wrong, then this will happen. Or if I do this wrong, this will happen. So it just really just being a student to that game. So that's what playing up got me.
And with that awareness, you said it made you more aware. You were able to react quicker. In that nature, do you think when did you know? I know you said that hit changed it for you, but at what point did you understand that, like, man, I'm just as good as the kids that are older than me. I'm even better than them. I'm starting.
Man, it took me a while because I'm pretty grounded now. So like, it still haven't hit me that I'm even a top prospect now until like people just keep reminding me of it. So it just really took my first offer, which I got my sophomore summer, to really know that I got the potential to play on the next level.
And that's a great answer there. I love how you said you're humble. That's one thing that I think, along with commitment, that a lot of athletes still should remain humble, even with their progression and with all of the accolades that come with that. You mentioned you want to remain humble. How do you remain? What is one of the greatest achievements with you being so humble? What's something you achieved that makes it hard to stay humble?
It's really not that hard being humble. I feel as though like I haven't made it nowhere. So by me being committed, that can just be taken away in a snap of a finger. Like, as I watch TV every day, people get in trouble all the time, people die all the time. So that you just know that life isn't easy and that stuff can just be taken away. It's just how easy it's been given to you. So that just keep me on a straight path, straight line, and just talking to God and my family.
And with that, you said you started mentioning your family, you started mentioning your childhood. Is there anything within, or is there any external factors in your life that make you strive harder for football? Is there any reason that why you play sports, why you lace up, or Why you do everything you do?
Yeah, like back to loyalty, I made like a lot of promises with my auntie, which she passed now, and I had a brother, which he passed too. I just made promises that I always make sure they straight, but I can't make sure they straight, so it's on to the next person, because life just gonna continually keep moving. You can't just sob on day of death all day long, so I just really just put my passion into my football game, and I just go hard for them.
And so how do you remain committed? Like, what are things you're doing to remain committed with all of those, with balancing being a young man, with balancing being there for your family, with all the promises you made? How are you still balancing being committed to your sport, still knowing that you got the weight of the world on your shoulders?
I just put in my 1% every day. I know, like, if I don't go on the field, then I'm gonna have to either read a book or how to be a better leader, or watch TV, or try to gain something from the game. Like, watch a football game, watch my old film, and just gaining something every day, learning something new every day, and just really just staying grounded. Like, you just gotta learn something every day, because I feel as though when you get older, it's gonna be harder for you to adjust to that. From being a teenager to a grown man, because I'm only 17, and just snapping the finger, I'm finna be 21. So I just really just try my best to learn from my parents and my mother and my brother, which is he played a big role in my life, because he was young like I was. Now he's a grown man, so he just really teach me the ways, the do's and don'ts.
And with you saying, you said your life is gonna change extremely quick. You mentioned being 17 to 21. With all of us here being college athletes or going to be college athletes, in your sport, I know it's going to become a job at some point. How does it remain fun for you? Now it's fun because you're in high school. I mean, you're not in college. You don't have to wake up for meetings all the time. The most you might have to do is travel. So what is the most exciting part of the game for you? Is it practice? Is it that 1% after work? I mean, is that 1% after practice? Is it that the notoriety that comes after you go off? What is it that you love the most about the game?
I just like, to be honest, I know nobody ever said this, but I like losing. Like, I like losing, then coming back and hitting somebody else harder. Cause I feel as though they're not gonna expect that. They're not gonna expect the aftermath or what you do after you lost. They expect, are we supposed to just beat them again? And that's not with me. I compete. So once you beat me, that's just gonna let me get back on my 2 feet and come back harder, even harder.
So, high school. So, stats-wise, high school, I see you had over a band last year, and what's that, 12, 14 touchdowns? 15? So, tell me about that. Like, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like you can, you know what I'm saying? I know that's good. I'm not going to lie to you, but do you feel like this year you coming with something better? Or?
Yeah, I feel as though it's just like fuel with the fire for real for me. For my senior year, and I know I got a lot of shoes to step in, big shoes to fill, so I feel as though it's gonna be more to that, probably 2,000.
I like to hear that. So last year, what do you feel was like your best game, like stat wise, like energy wise? What do you feel like that game you just snapped in?
I don't know. I snapped in all my games, but no, I did. My best game, I feel as though my first game, the Cahokia game, was my first. It was my first game. I really had 5 touchdowns, but 2 of them got called back. So, no, 3 of them got called back, so I had 2 touchdowns that game. So, I feel like Cahokia, it was just like, I was locked in the whole day. I had my beats in, ate lunch. I was not listening to nothing then. It was like the first week of school, so we still get acclimated, so I really didn't have no work like that. And when I even get my work, I just do it. So I didn't have no work. I was chilling, listening to my music, and just watching film in class, watching film, just getting ready for the game.
So he's pretty much locked in all week up until that point. So you said you had some games you didn't do well in. So what do you feel like a game you struggled in the most, and how did you overcome that next game?
I feel as though like St. Mary's was probably the biggest game I struggled in because I didn't play a lot in it. So it was just really just like communicating with my teammates, like, cause it was hard on our quarterback that game. I didn't get that many receptions. I only got like 3 receptions, and so like it's really just like I had to communicate with my quarterback and just make him feel good about himself. Not just, you always can't just downplay some person game because you don't know how they feel about that. So just really communicated with him, our defense and our O-line.
So this year, what do you feel like that you have to work on? You know what I'm saying? Like, because I know you did pretty good last year. I'm saying, what do you feel like you need to work on for this season for you to get that 2,000 yards, for you to get more touchdowns? Like, what do you feel like you need to work on?
I feel as though, like, what I struggled in last season, I need to work on this season. It's probably just being more patient, because I was rushing everything. Like, it was like I didn't see it. Like, I was rushing stuff so much. I was just thinking about getting to the end zone, But, yeah, I was missing the hole or missing that one tackle I could have broke to get to the end zone because I was rushing everything. So just being more patient.
Okay.
So being with you being in high school and still being a top athlete in the country, what sets you aside as one of those athletes? There's millions of athletes in the United States. Why are you ranked? Why are you going to, like, why are you the top receiver in the country, one of the top 10 receivers in the state of Missouri?
I feel as though the attributes that I bring to my game, like, I have strong suits in everything. Like, I can catch and I can run routes, but I make sure I run routes. Like, I know everybody think, oh, you gotta be 6'3", 200, or you gotta be running 4'2", 4'3" now. But I just really I paid attention to Jerry Rice when I was little. And I like Devontae Adams now, and I just see that they all run routes now. It's like technique, because my brother, he was like, when he lived here in high school, he played high school, but he didn't make it to the next level, obviously. Like, he walked on to Grambling State, and he told me, like, technique is the key to everything. So when I was little, I was just doing the drills. Now I look back on the little film that I got when I was little, like, just doing the drills. I was just like, when I was little, I was just doing the drills, going through the motion. But now I see where the drills came into my route running ability, cutting off one foot or being balanced, or that sudden step that can just beat you and go around a defender. So I just really, I think my best part of my game is around my route running.
So you pretty much just a technician, is what you're saying? You said Jerry Rice, yeah, those are technicians pretty much.
I know we touched base on last year, so let's go forward with expectations for this upcoming year. What is the biggest challenge you think for you this upcoming year? As a senior, this is your team. This is your wide receiver group. What is the biggest challenge for you this year?
I feel as though the biggest challenge for me is winning state, but also the biggest challenge for me is teaching the younger guys what they need to know that I didn't know when I was younger. I feel as though when I came in as a freshman, I got something like taught as me a kid, but I was put in that role already, like, oh, you gotta know this. But I know the kids now that we leaving, they're gonna be sophomores, so that J Junior gonna be their biggest year, and I feel as though I can step in and tell them that they needed to do this. Like, when we was running around yesterday, I know the kids not like as shifty as me, so I give them the little tools I use from my trainers to give them to them, so they don't have to pay all this money or like do all this. They can just really just go home and just see what I do, because we got film, and just try to implement it in their game and get work after practice and before practice.
So I know that you mentioned the younger guys. Not only the younger guys, but what about including the guys that aren't Fredrick more? How do you still remain committed? How do you lead those guys? And how does that impact you when you know that everything is pretty much centered around you? You know, every snap you the go-to guy. How do you keep those guys committed as well? And what's something those guys do for you that keeps you committed?
I feel as though what I tell them to keep themselves committed is just never take a play off, because I feel that play off you take, that's when a ball going to either come to you, you're going to miss a block, or that could be the last play of the game, and we may lose the game because you not committed to the player. You just committed to yourself, because there's no I in team. It's a whole team sport, and that's what I had to learn when I was young too, because I was just out there blocking. Freshman year, I only got in the second half, so I really just was blocking or catch little passes. So I just stayed committed to my team, and I just was there and dedicated, and that's when we was winning games. So.
And what are those guys that obviously everyone won't be as talented as you? How does their commitment help you as a kid who's a top tier athlete? How does that impact you, and how does that help you with your craft?
It just really helped me excel in my craft by them just like if I make it, I feel as though that'll motivate them more because they was in my shoes, the same shoes I was in about 3 years ago or 5 years ago. If I make it to the NFL, or like they can be like, I went to the same school as and we did the same drill, or they have me as an example for their own selves just to implement it on the field. So that's how I think.
Okay.
So how does it feel with us being from St. Louis, one of the most, dangerous cities, like, in the nation? How does it feel like being that top athlete, knowing that you a very positive role model for the kids around St. Louis? Like, how does that feel? How does that make you feel? Like,
it just made me feel like, it just put a chip on my shoulder. Like, it made me keep going. Like, it made me tell kids to just stay out of trouble because ain't nothing, trouble can only lead you to prison or death nowadays. It's not no getting a second chance in St. Louis. Like, y'all know that. So it just really just make me keep going, give them my 2 cents and what I gotta say to the children and just lead them by example, being a leader.
So I know we touched base on a little bit of high school. So just to wrap up high school and move forward with the next phase, I know we asked you about some challenges for the upcoming season as one of the top recruits. What are you most excited about with the upcoming season, being a senior and this being your team?
I feel as though the most ecstatic thing about I'm ready to see about our team is just winning state. I feel as though we're going to get over that hump and win the semifinals after losing it in 2 seasons, then not having my freshman season, then having COVID season. So just giving on that hope and win the state semifinals and win the state.
Understandable, and that's definitely a great answer there. So we can break the ice. We know you've committed to Michigan. Why Michigan?
I feel like Michigan just like another St. Louis, but it's just in Ann Arbor, but it's close to Detroit. So, Detroit is similar to St. Louis. And I feel as though like I like the relationship I built with Coach Bellamy and Coach Harbaugh. Them guys made me feel like it's home. They was not pressuring me, but they made it feel like they wanted me and they needed me on the team. And I know by me committing to Michigan, I can accomplish my goals of going to the NFL and fulfill the promises I made. And also getting developed, even if like it don't work out long term, I can get developed educational wise because they got one of the best education in the nation.
And in terms of since you're making that transition to college, what's something? Well, most kids don't get to experience. Most kids don't get recruited by D1 programs. Most kids don't get to step foot on Michigan's campus. So what is something to you that stood out, or what did you love the most about this process? Because what would you tell the kids that are never going to experience this, or the kids up and coming that are about to walk in your footsteps?
My most excited thing about the recruiting process is just getting your name out there, because I feel as though my name wasn't out there. So I was just going to camps. I was doing like little drills and the cone drills, posting them on Twitter, tagging all the coaches. So just really the grind in the recruiting process, trying to get your name from 0 to 100, basically. So that's probably my most exciting, and going against some of the top recruits and beating them. So.
And one thing you touched on earlier was the fact that you've played up. So with you, with your senior year coming up, and you're going to be playing up with sophomores. You're going to be playing with juniors. You're going to be playing with seniors when you get to that Michigan, when you get to that D1 phase. How are you going to continue to be the best? How are you going to commit to being the best?
Well, like I was saying, like back in the podcast, just putting my 1% in, because I see that the more you practice good habits, the good habits just come to routine. So like the routine I got is scoring after I catch the ball in practice, because once I score, I'm gonna see in the game that same open field that I see when I get the ball in my hands. So just putting my 1% in and just thinking fast, because I know in college it's not always about just being the fastest or being the toughest. Like, you got to think fast and be very sudden with everything you do, and very because the most small details can get you open or can get you that block, so your running back can cross off your book and score. So just small details, learning the small details in the 1%. And
I know we focused on sports a lot. When you take that next step, what are things that, or other than sports, what are things that keep you focused, or what are things that you love to do outside of sports? Because everybody only knows you sports. Who are you who is Fredrick? Can you tell us more about Fredrick?
Me outside of sports, I really don't do too much. I be on the game, so I play the games and I hang with my friends. Like, we find stuff to do, but not like nothing too exotic. Like, we just sometimes we go to the Sky Zone, sometimes we go to Six Flags, but I tend to chill. Like, I'm not like the type of party person. I don't like hanging around a lot of people. So like, I pretty just be in my own lane, stay back, but I'm still positive. I'm not finna like tell nobody what they can't do because I don't do it. So it's just really just chilling. So I really just a chill guy.
And then that next step for you in a sports, or it could be outside of sports, what are your 3 goals within the next 5 years? You got your senior year, so we'll go outside of your senior year. When you get to Michigan, what are 3 goals that Fredrick has to accomplish in those 4 years in Michigan? Or it could be 3. My bad for cutting you off, but it could definitely be 3. I mean,
yeah, my top 3 goals for when I graduate college or before I graduate college is making it to the NFL, getting my degree, and making enough money where I can start my own real estate business.
So real estate is the outside source. Well, real estate is the backup plan.
No, the backup plan, computer science. I want to be a network engineer, but I just want to start my own real estate because there's money into it. I don't want to just invest my money into chains and clothes. I still want to have money when I'm done playing football.
Okay, well, getting to know Fredrick, the person. I know you said you hang out with your boys. Y'all go out to eat. Y'all go to Six Flags. Y'all go to Sky Zone or whatever. So when y'all sitting down, y'all playing Madden, who are your top 3 wide receivers right now in the
Top
league?
3 wide receivers: Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, and Calvin Ridley.
In that order? Can you give us why that order?
I feel as though Devontae Adams is just a dog, and I feel as though he make everything look the same. Like, he make everything, he do that little 2-step off the line and slant. Like, that's his go-to move. But I know he can settle go. He not that fast. Like, he not the fastest like me. Like, but he can still get in and out his breaks and manipulate DBs. So that's why I like Devontae Adams so much. Then Stephon Diggs just got the swag to his game. He got the speed. He got the confidence. He talk a lot, and he back up all he say. Like, he never back down to nobody. So that's what I like about Stephon Diggs. The Calvary, I actually train with him. We got the same trainer, and he just a freak. Like, I know he made some bad decisions, but he just a freak. So y'all may see a free Calvary shirt this season.
So you said Devontae Adams was a dog. Explain what a dog is, like, and having a dog mentality. Explain that.
I feel as though a dog is just somebody who gonna get it no matter what. Like, I know people like say they want to get to the money, but how you gonna get to the money? Like, what you gonna do to get to the money? So I just feel as though dogs gonna get what they want and get what they need to, like, ethical wise, like, just logically. So like, what you gonna do logically to get to your goal, or how would you get to your goal?
And in terms, I know that you since we're on that dog topic, what separate? I know you said you were a dog and Devontae Adams is a dog. Were you born with that dog in you? Were you born with that trait, or do you think is that trait what separates you, or all top tier athletes born with that? And then what it was like in the sense of, were you born with that dog in you? Did it snap last year? When did you realize you were a dog?
It just really it really comes to you. Like, some all top athletes not dogs because they're not grounded. Like, I feel as though like some people be like, oh yeah, I got this many offers, I don't gotta do this. Or like, I got this many offers, I can slack off, like, or I'm committed, so I can slack off. But I feel as though the dog come when, like, you want to win. Like, when you playing Uno with the family, you don't want to lose because they're going to be talking all that smack. So I knew I was a dog when, like, I just scored my first touchdown sophomore season. I just wanted it to happen again and again and again, and I didn't want to get stopped. So I just know I wanted to put my family in a good position. So.
And to all the kids out there, what are 3 things Michigan is getting out of you?
They getting a dependable person. They can depend on me. They getting a versatile person on and off the field. I feel as though I can do it in the classroom and on the field. Then I feel as though they getting a trustworthy person because you can trust me outside of football. Like, I'm not finna get into no dumb stuff, go to some parties, or like do nothing illegal. So that's what type of person they getting out of me.
Seem like they got a good person. Them 3 big things right there for sure. Definitely, you being in high school, I feel like you real, like, mentally, strong for your age. A lot of people that's 17, you 17, right? Not mentally strong like you. They can't come on here and say the type of stuff you saying. You saying some stuff that I feel like you're real mentally strong. You got a good head on your shoulders.
Yeah, very mature young man, very well spoken, very well rounded. And we really appreciate your time today, Fredro. One thing we want to ask you, I know we've asked you this to start, but since we've gotten to know you as a man, a young man, and an athlete, what does commitment mean to you now since you've had this conversation with us?
Just being dedicated to something and not getting your mind off it. Just keeping focused to the one thing, your one task, your one goal, and competing that goal.
Well, there it is, guys. Y'all got Fredro Moore, top tier receiver in the state of Missouri, Michigan commit, and you definitely will be seeing more of him next year and when he's on to Michigan. Thank you for your time, Fredro.
Appreciate you having me.
Do they take like a portion out of your scholarship or a scholarship cover? Okay, so you still get the full ride.
Yeah, so you get like your scholarship, your stipends and stuff like that, and you get your money that you get. Because that stuff not with the school, so it can't be wired with the school.
So Buddy that plays for Texas, the linebacker, really got him a limbo.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like
cool.
I told Olama, I think they got limbo deals too.
All right,
2 hour Olama.
Fredrick.
From
Michigan.
Fredrick,
Yeah.
can you either pull the mic to you or scoot up a little bit? Because you got to be in the mic. Yeah. Say something for me.
Hello?
I'm going to lift it up. You look uncomfortable.
Did you know Hassan?
No, I didn't know him like that. I just knew he from St. Louis and played there. My cousin played with him, and I was just like, oh, that's cool. But I never thought of it like I was born in Michigan. I just knew he went there.
I little brother went to high school with him.
Yeah, they say he was a dog.
Yeah. You can hoop too.
Football, you only sport?
Track.
Track.
Yeah, listen.
Oh, yeah, y'all always call it track.
Yeah. I really want to hoop, but it's too late for that now.
What y'all see? Oh, yeah, you probably basketball.
Well, I'm gonna try, but I don't know yet.
Have you met kids in your class?
But committed there too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we was at the barbecue together. So we took pictures together. So I seen them, like, I didn't see all of them on my fishing so we went to the barbecue. So yeah, we plan on going to some games and stuff like that.
Have you gotten like the, obviously with you being a top recruit in the country, one thing that comes with that is notoriety.
Mm-hmm.
When you walk around St. Louis, or not even just St. Louis, wherever you go, have you experienced that on a grand scale yet, or you just kind of walking into it, or is it like
It's like I've experienced it, but it's not like nobody coming like, oh, you fragile. It's more so like I start a conversation, I say my name, and they know who I am. Like with children, they don't know. Most of the kids know. But like nobody is not like big like that.
So obviously you got an official visit with your senior year. The notoriety will be
Yeah, probably like
outrageous.
season.
All right, we live.
Um,
We live.